Hi everyone, take those off so you don't have glare. Welcome to the Heart's Frontier. I'm Kate. If this is the first time that you've been here and you like the video, or you like what we're talking about here, then please make sure you like and subscribe. That way more people see the channel, you come back to the channel, you got the little notification bell on. Even if you're subscribed, double check, make sure. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I'm really looking forward to this reading. It's a channeled collective reading, and I just thought I would let myself come on and say, you know, what do people watching this video need to hear right now in regards to their healing journey? And I feel really called to use these shamanic healing oracle deck, and I think that makes sense because I'm actually focusing a lot on the shamanic healing side of my work. Woo. And so it makes sense that that would be the theme of this week, as far as whoever's tuning in here. So I'm just going to see what else comes up here. But as I was starting the video, I was taking some notes here just to images that were coming in my mind. One of them was stormy shores, which felt confusing. So I asked for clarification and then realized I should probably share this with you all. And so stormy shores to me is saying that actually the shoreline is the thing that's not safe, so you need to stay in the water, which felt very confusing. So maybe like the chaos in the water is actually where you're meant to be residing in. There's things for you to learn potentially in that, and that it's actually not safe to try to go to shore. Like you'd be rocking over, it would actually damage the boat is what it's feeling like. Almost like there would be no way in to the shore itself. Okay. I am also feeling like collectively, it's been like a bit of, I've been hearing in my head, and you know, when I repeat things often in my head, I realize it's not just me thinking something over and over, but I've been hearing the phrase, woe is me a lot, woe is me. Which, if you don't know that phrase, woe is me is like what a lot of people would say if it's like, oh, woe is me, things always happen to me and life is so tough. And it's sort of like martyrdom in a way. Yeah, and woe is me is also sort of saying like, I'm sad, but it may not be looking for a way out of the sadness yet. Like that's what it's feeling like. So if there's some heaviness, like I definitely feel like a strong heaviness in the heart this week with the collective energy, which I'm gonna say is a large energy to tune into in general. So I usually try to focus it to people who will be watching this video just to limit my scope a little bit, because obviously to speak on the entire world, I do tune into world and collective energies. I tend to do a lot of wider spread healing, but it's a tough one to read collectively, right? There would be a lot of people, if you said this is how the entire world is right now, there would be a lot of people who would see differently. And so it's easier to say who is going to be watching this video, therefore what do they need to hear? And then it'll be more direct and more, it'll really be more accurate actually, and more in depth by doing that. So, and then I'm gonna pull one of these and then we'll get to reading. I love doing these. I really do. Honestly, I know I said this in a recent video, but I really do feel the difference when I don't do a video now in a day. So I've made it a commitment for November to come on every single day at some point and say something to the YouTube. It's just because it's feeling like the right thing to do. It's feeling like part of my current mission, my current part of my mission. There's too many cards, please. Thank you. Yeah, okay, 2. I'll take 2, fine. Yeah, and so I'm feeling as though I need to be here on the YouTube and connecting with you all. So I'm really enjoying any of the messages that I get, comments as well when they come in. They're more occasional than the messages. Like I hear from people all the time. So what I'm going to start doing is if you're going to message me, I might ask you to also put a comment. Because it is actually good to grow the channel, right? More people seeing this is a good thing. So, okay, cool. Cool. So I'm gonna keep some of these hidden. Okay, great. So for the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, this is the Michelle Motuzas Oracle deck, which is really like a favorited one by a lot of clients that I see. Also, I will say my hand itself has been really shaky today. So if you notice that, I'm sorry. Like I might not be able to hold the cards as still. But yeah, just forgive me. So that one says teaching. This one says masculine energy. We have perception. And then we have inner journey. Okay. Teaching perception. So teaching a masculine energy to perceive their own inner journey is like one sentence. So it may be that there's a masculine figure in your life who you're helping bring back to themselves this week. So if this relates to you, it may be that when we focus on the external, what's outside of ourselves for so long, the inner journey can easily get forgotten. And I find with a lot of people who have masculine leaning energy, which again, does not mean that their gender is male, but it could be. So when you have a lot of masculine energy, it can feel like your purpose is to drive forward at all times, but in all reality, and I've given this king symbolism before, that in all reality, an enlightened leader who has a lot of masculine energy will also have a lot of ingrained feminine awareness. And in that, they need to take pauses, right? So I'm getting this image of, I love when I get these Arthurian, Arthurian like royal court kind of images. They're really fun. Okay, so I'm getting this image of a king sitting around a bunch of people who are wanting them to make a decision, and each of them have something that is really important to them. So it's like the farmer wants to make sure that his crops will yield, you know, a good amount this year, and therefore needs a certain grace on some sort of tax so that he can buy, you know, so that they can buy some sort of tool. And then the merchant is saying they need to raise the price on their tools because their price is being raised all over the, you know, the county. And then say the leader of, I don't know, an army or knights or whatever. It's like I go between historical and mystical here, but whoever it is, they all each have their own purposes for being there. And all of those things, right? Good crops, good economic standing, winning in battles. You could debate on whether that's good for a community or not, but I would say for this, it makes sense. They're protecting their land, and so it is good for their community and what they need to do in their minds. And so this king, faced with, well, I can't say yes to all of these people. It's not possible for me to like say yes to all these people. So what will I do? And so he's like looking at all the people in front of him. I'm getting a lot of like, this is really funny. I don't feel emotional about this story, but I'm getting a lot of like choking up energy, and it's making my eyes tear up. Just like something like it's caught, like the words to say are caught. But anyways, I'm going to continue the rest of the story, but that was a really weird feeling that just kind of came across me. So it's like this king is looking at all these different situations and people and what they want, and it's like not possible to say yes to all of them. And so the best thing for this king to do, instead of making a quick decision based on whose voice is the loudest, or instead of making a decision based on the first person who came forward, right? Maybe it's the farmer who first came forward, but that's actually the one that he needs to say, no, not right now to. And so however it is, I mean, these individual situations obviously aren't the important piece of it, but what's important to know is that the king is trying to make a decision here with multiple different good options and one best option, and the best option is not clear to him. So what would be more key for an enlightened king, instead of making a rash decision and, you know, chasing advancement and chasing progress, is actually just take a step back and say, what does advancement and progress look like to me and to my, you know, kingdom right now, to the community? If it looks like a lot of people in the community are having a hard time with food, then obviously he would push the farmer to be able to be supported that much quicker, so that that many more people are helped, right? If the military is finding it hard to, maybe the military or like, yeah, this force of some kind is finding it hard to, it's like, wouldn't be military, but you know, If this army is like finding it hard to go out to battle because they are very comfortable at home, there may be something that the king can say to inspire them to move outward and to advance further. That could actually get them more crops, right? I don't, again, I don't want anyone stealing anyone's land, and there's like enough of that. So just take the story as like a metaphor. It's like a fable, okay? Yeah, so what I'm seeing is that the best thing to do is for this king to take a step back and realize like what the priorities actually are in the big picture. And in that place of feeling, he would actually need to go within and be with his feminine energy for a moment, right? Like you can't just bulldoze through every single decision you make in life. There have to be some that you either go on instinct, that you go on some sort of knowing, some sort of heart calling. If you would like to move at a more advanced rate, it's important that you don't only focus on the 3D and the external and what's right here. And it's important that you don't focus only on what has happened in the past, but what is about to happen in the future, right? So this is something I'm feeling with the inner journey card, and also with the teaching and perception. So it's maybe just me teaching some perception right now, but it's key when you're setting goals, right? To feel as though they are achievable and that you're looking forward to them, but they're to allow more in your life, right? Like it's for you to celebrate and enjoy and revel in. And so when you go stubbornly towards a goal without taking time to actively dream, then what you're essentially doing is saying, I'll dream and enjoy when I get there. And that's actually not in alignment with where you'd like to be. So it's like an act as if kind of message, and practice love in your life. But do practice actually, it may be, if you've never heard of this concept of masculine energy versus feminine energy, it may be good to look up how you might step into your feminine energy. I am feeling there is some avoidance of feelings in the collective because you're concerned it's going to weaken your abilities to move forward. And this is, again, this is not solely for a masculine energy I'm speaking to. This is for everyone at this point. So we've pulled Sekhmet here, which is be strong, and Sedna, which is infinite supply. So you are stronger than you think you are, and your strength assures a happy outcome. You will undoubtedly, you will, that was really funny. I think that was just to throw me off so I could just start laughing because I'm being all serious and like heavy-handed. You will undoubtedly have a happy outcome in your life when you understand that you're strong and when you act from that place and you make sure that it doesn't get egoic, right? Strength is one of those things. It can be so easy to attach the identity of being a strong and a powerful person. And like, you see how my eyes furrow? Like my eyebrows go when I feel that way. And it's so key to be able to use that, harness all of that power. That is very important, right? You need to be able to feel strong, feel powerful, feel capable. That is the thing that allows you to enjoy, right? Because if you're not enjoying yourself and seeing yourself that way, when you step back to try and relax, then you don't really know who you are. And so then you're not really ever relaxing because you don't really know who you are in that relaxation time. Just kind of a deep message. So it says, you are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. Every single one. You are going to be supplied for, whether it is in straight finances, acquisition of possessions, experiences, opportunities, love, success in any way you defined it, right? Defined. I wonder if you've ever defined success and what it looks like to you, but I do feel that would be really important. Like the collective in general, maybe reshaping our view of success right now. I think this year has challenged a lot of people and the measures that they set out for themselves. And so redefining your idea of success would be super pertinent at this time to get on track with it. Oh, masculine energy. Yeah, I mean, it's also getting to be another time of action. There was like a brief pause there, which felt a little bit more like retreating, but it is feeling that way. So let's see some more cards here. We have Prince. And I'm getting drawn to the fact that I don't always get drawn to the images specifically with these ones. So I just mention if something stands out to me. And I'm getting drawn to the fact that there's like flowers behind the back, like something's hidden. There's some sort of kind gesture that you're either withholding or you would like it to be secret in some way. And I would like to encourage you to bring it to the light and bring it to the forefront. Here's an example. Okay, so if you're going through a Timmy's line, Tim Hortons, so Canada, if you're going through a Timmy's line and, you know, someone pays for you in the car ahead, don't you always kind of wish that, you know, if they've not already driven away, you can go and wave and be like, thanks so much, that's so nice. You know, it may be super simple. They're just buying you whatever thing you got. Usually people do it if it's like less than a certain amount of money that they're comfortable with. And you know, it's such a kind gesture. They don't really want the thanks for it, but I always wonder why. Like, why do they not want to make a positive connection? Why do we collectively not want to make a positive connection when we've done something kind? And should we not be modeling kind behavior for all people and being quite vocal about that? Actually, should we not be louder about our kind gestures so as to encourage and, you know, activate everyone else's desire to live that same way? I don't believe there's many people who in their true self, their true heart of hearts, wouldn't want a very kind world, right? So hiding it in the shadows, hiding part of that kindness in the shadows is really doing a disservice to the world at large. So Prince, romantic charm and potential for power. So again, we're seeing this power theme come very strongly in this week. So it's really important. This has been going on for me a lot, is recognizing my own inner sense of power and stepping into that. It's quite a journey. So I highly recommend it if you've never thought about your personal power and what that looks like to you. Yes, it can get quite deep as to the ways that you've allowed and disallowed your own power. Shadow attribute is using power for self-aggrandizement. Yeah, okay. There's like a couple different camps of people here. In the first tent, we have some folks who are told that they're very powerful. It's like a known thing that they're powerful. And so they're using this power to actually take it easy and to not step into that potential is what it's feeling like. It's feeling like, yeah, okay. The next card here is Exorcist. So I'll keep going on this couple piles that I see here going on. The Exorcist is freeing yourself and others from destructive impulses, and is also fear of facing your own demons. And fear does sort of come up in this like clenching throat way for me when I'm doing these readings. Okay, fear of facing your own demons and this using power to sort of say, oh, I'm good, I don't need to change, I'm super powerful, I'll just act later, I'll just do it when I'm good and ready, is really pulling you very far away from your heart and very far away from your soul. Because if you are here to be a powerful person, your soul truly wants you to be acting as that right now, without any delay, right? How do you step up into this leader that you would like to be? Okay, fear of facing your own demons, using power for self-aggrandizement. Then we have some folks in this group who are listening who have been romantically charming but losing themselves in that process. So this may be a current story or a previous story. And so there's been some like manipulation that either has come at you or you've been doing. I'm feeling more like you've been doing. And so this exercise is really freeing yourself from that chain of consistently building connections with people who are not aligned to you in whatever way. Does not mean they're worse than you, right? That's not what that means. But just if If you're if your paths are crossing and then you go, ooh, I see us parting right here, and then you keep going on it just so that you have that control or that power, that sense of identity, that's when it really pulls you away from yourself. And this isn't really about the other people, right? I'm only ever really guiding you to you and where you need to be looking at. Truth is, we can't do anything to change anyone else or what they do, right? So freeing others of their destructive impulses. Okay. Okay, gonna keep going here. So there's a mentor here, passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. And we did have the teaching card earlier. So it may be that you're allowed to step into a bit of a teaching role, or that you're being asked to step into a teaching role and you're not sure of whether you're ready to teach. And so it says the inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master and imparting false instruction. Okay, part of this has to do with this prince-like power struggle thing. For anyone who is currently in a position where people are looking up to you, it's very key that you work on yourself at this time. That is what I'm hearing. It's very key that you find your own personal sense of power and you stop, you completely cease allowing other people to inform you of your power, right? It's known to you, and so when you seek it out, it comes back to you. So when you seek someone validating that, someone will tell you, oh, you're so good, you're so powerful, you're so this, you're so that. And that may not be what you need to hear. You need to tell yourself that, right? You don't need to hear it from anyone else anymore. The external is really, really not a good informant in this way. You are beyond that. And so for you to look at the external is like kind of wasting your time at this point. That's what it feels like. Whew, okay. Passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. So that feels like you mentoring yourself and refining your own character. And yeah, so, okay, small addendum here. I'm going to be doing an Align Your Life workshop. And in this Align Your Life workshop, there is a whole part about character, personal values, what you hold yourself to. It's really not an airy-fairy, like playing with pendulums may have felt very fun and sort of spiritual and, you know, neat to connect. This has a very different tone. It's still spiritual, it's still practical, just like the pendulums are, but Align Your Life is definitely more of my masculine energy coming into a workshop. So I would really, really love if this is speaking to you, if you know, take a look or talk to me about whether this course might be a good one for you. Feels as though you're refining your own character at this time, you're finding your own integrity, and that's leading you towards feeling aligned. I don't feel that you're feeling totally aligned right now, whoever's listening to this group. So there's also martyr, learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. And the shadow attribute is addiction to self-pity. So if you've been doing this self-pitying circle and saying, well, I'm so powerful, I'm just gonna wait, I'm just gonna, you know, see what happens later down the line. It's time for you to take that martyrdom, victimhood that you've been hanging out in and shift it to this transcendent nature. And how do you do this? Okay. How do you do this? You find the parts of you which are most true, and you line up everything you can in your life to those things. It sounds very complex, but it's very simplistic. You just need someone to help you boil it down, maybe, or you can do this on your own. I'm not saying you need someone to help you with this, but it may help to sort of zoom you along. Learning how to devote yourself to something that's on your heart with consistency, with measure, with accuracy, and with that full power. I think there may be, I'm hearing a little bit with this group that there's been someone who has tried in the past to make a difference and it felt like it didn't go anywhere. But it didn't go anywhere at that time because it wasn't needed at that time, and you're continuing on because that hardship forced you to think a little bit deeper about how you can make a larger impact. So I'm hearing resiliency. So remind yourself how powerful you are. This is why it's important that you don't just listen to what other people are saying and actually, in fact, start tuning it out. That scares you for some reason. Listening to your own internal guidance, if that is scary to you, then you need to address that now. That has to be addressed because that's what you're here, you know, guided to follow, is your own internal guidance system. you may need some work with it. You may need to build your belief system to match you a little bit more closely at this time. It may feel like it's been time since you've really done deep reflection. And again, the Align Your Life, like we're just going to be reflecting for a few hours and working through exactly how to get things done and make a more positive impact on the world. Oh, I'm really excited for it. You can come to that program, workshop, course, gathering. You can come to Align Your Life with a project specifically in mind, or just to take a look at your whole life, something you're manifesting that you really want to work on. Yeah, I love it. It's a really cool one. I've held it before in person, so that's why I can say I know I love it. Okay, this last one we have here before the shamanic healing cards, mystical shaman oracle cards, is the king. So great. I've taken you through a bunch of different archetypes, but where did I start here? And I didn't look at the bottom of this deck here because it was just a pile of cards. Where did I start here was talking about this king imagery, right? So how fitting that this king archetype has showed up. Enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. Shadow attributes, excessive feelings of entitlement and rulership without restraint. So this is kind of what I mean. If you're having power and rule over an area that you're already comfortable with and you're not doing anything to really grow it and you're feeling pulled elsewhere, it's time for you to follow that and take action on it, because every step away is a step out of your own integrity. Very key. It's a very like directive message, this one. Okay. Then we have the crow and the coyote. Something I'm also hearing collectively is more sighing would be actually really important for us. That when we're taking in a lot, sometimes we're not fully releasing everything with our exhales. So every now and then when you feel really uptight and then totally sigh, like really feel it rush out of you. Okay. That is how we heal. So many different ways, whatever feels easiest to us at the time. Okay, the crow energy. So I feel very connected to the crow energy. Yeah, it was given to me as an animal that represents me, actually. So I'll read this little bit here because it says something about teaching, but then I'm going to read the main piece that I need to read. Okay, it says, crow is the keeper of universal law, the law of truth. Crow teaches us to walk our talk, to find congruence between who we say we are and who we really know ourselves to be. Yeah, I love that. Isn't that exactly what I've been saying? That's so cool. So cool. I love how this stuff works. I really do. Okay, when you speak the truth and practice truth, eventually everything you say becomes true. Imagine that. No more lying. Just continually practicing truth until it becomes fully true. Your power to co-create with the truth is the universal law. Correct what is untrue in your life without judgment. So that's the thing. Don't put yourself in shame, because that's just going to get you farther and back into the past, right? Focus on what is true for you now, what needs to be more true, and just work on getting to that. Like, don't spend all this time in all the ways you've deceived or lied or just not acted like your true self. Like, it may not feel as heavy as that. Let the truth set you free. So it's all about being true to your word, and makes sense. That's been like the thing I keep snapping out today. So thank you, crow. Thank you, thank you. Now, coyote. Okay. If coyote calls to you, this is a time to pay special attention to detours and disappointment, as they are true tests of faith. You have set your intentions and turned them over to the Great Spirit, yet you may find yourself lost and confused when it appears you're being led off course, off the path leading to your most cherished dreams and desires. That's like just a feel for 2020, isn't it? It's just like a feel for this year. I don't know anyone who doesn't have some sort of resonance with that. Okay. Remember this, coyote is a sacred trickster and may be leading you into challenges to ensure that you're ready to handle what you've set in motion. Great growth and understanding come to you when coyote calls your name. And then I also got drawn to the bottom of the page here again. So there's always a lot to read, and I just pick different spots on the page that my eyes are being drawn to for whatever reason. And this is so fascinating. This is such a quick, intuitive skill to just read what you need to read. But I wonder whether I would have done this as a kid, like whether I would have read something and then just picked what was necessary. It's really fascinating to think about, because it's like a skill that I use now, but I wonder if it existed before. And you can do this too. I can teach you how to read intuitively as well if you need. Okay, it says beware the shallow waters right now. So this is the beware the external, beware the 3D, beware the stuff that's outside of you. Literally everything outside of you in your experience is not quite real, right? That's why we sometimes feel so unsettled in this reality that we've built, because there's so much more than only our perception. And so what we see is not real, right? What we see is only what we see. Okay. Something or someone might pretend to be deep, but that doesn't make them so, no matter how seductive their superficial traits and how beautiful or sparkly they appear. All that glitters there will not turn up gold, no matter how many wishes you make to change that. So if that, oof, that's such a feel. If that just resonated with you and you just realize that, you know, someone around you is not able to look in the deeper waters of their own life, please know that they may come back into your life at any point, but it is important that you walk away, because when you're not hanging out in the same area and you hang out with each other and you start floating up to the surface, but you're trying to do deeper work, you're going to feel in parallel, like you're going to feel in comparison. This isn't like a cut every negative vibe, you know, person out of your life. I'm not really about that, but I do feel we know when someone is not looking beyond the surface. And if you're someone similar to me who does constantly look underneath the surface for things, I think it's just key that you recognize where you're not in alignment. And that just may be that you take down the conversation, that you know, speak to them less frequently, or you put up some sort of barrier or boundary for yourself. It may actually encourage them to go deeper on their journey. So if you find, this is maybe if someone's gossiping to you a lot, if you find someone's gossiping a lot, it may be really beautiful for them to actually hear from your words how that's making you uncomfortable. And I know that must feel really awkward to try and think about how you would do that. But I would think that most people, if you're speaking from a pure place within yourself, most people would be receptive to the idea that, you know, most people who are negative don't really want to feel that way. It's very rare. Someone may say they do, but it just doesn't seem to make sense that someone would want to hang out in that space if they don't need to be, you know? I do believe you're going through a large paradigm shift with how you see things in the world right now. And so it may be very confusing to relate to the people around you for a little bit, but just have faith. You're super strong. You're meant to take some sort of step towards leadership and to protect others. Like, it really feels like you're a caring individual who, yeah, maybe just needs to check the ego and perception and just say, am I seeing this truthfully? Am I acting like my full potential? Am I acting like myself? And again, if you're interested in that Align Your Life workshop, I'm so excited for it. I'm going to talk about it probably more frequently coming up. It's on my website, so you can see the link below. And again, I do personal readings as well, and I have been loving doing those lately. So if you would like to book in for one of those, I would love to meet with you, chat with you, and I will have a pay what you can event coming soon. I know some folks listening are not in a position to always be able to come and pay the full price for my services. And so I like to offer the pay what you can services just as a way in, a way to help. Part of my mission is to make sure that people have accessible healing, and that can be very challenging, right, as an individual to be able to offer that. So I'm very grateful whenever I do these pay what you can days. They always go well for me. So thank you very much for being part of the community so far and for helping me grow as I see the numbers, you know, steadily climbing. It's very nice. So please do like and share if you got this far. I would love if you shared it with someone, if it resonated with you and maybe someone else you know. And until next time, take care.